that someone is watching you, or that your seemingly harmless neighbor might be hiding a chilling secret. In the quietest corners of our lives, the most bone-chilling stories often unfold. Tonight, we'll explore 4 true tales of neighbors who turned out to be anything but ordinary. Lock your doors, close your blinds, and prepare to be haunted by the people who live just next door. Story 1. The Vacation Mobile Home Nightmare. I bought a vacation mobile home almost 2 months ago. It's a complete shack, 2 small bedrooms, a little living room, kitchen, and 1 bathroom. It was simply meant as a nice, peaceful place to escape the city, either by myself or with a girlfriend if I ever get one. The property has 2 acres, so it's nice and roomy, and one of the main appeals is that it's only a 10-minute drive from a mountain I like to go snowboarding at a few times a year. My first time there, I was decorating the place with my family. We all went to one of the local furniture outlets in the area and picked out a few couches. We managed to get everything set up in 1 weekend, thanks to my dad's pickup truck. During all this back and forth from the store to the mobile home, our closest neighbor noticed the commotion and came over to greet us. He introduced himself as Dale. Dale was what you'd expect from a local here, thick Hudson Valley accent, different mannerisms than city folk like me were used to. At first he seemed nice. We exchanged introductions, though I knew I'd be the one getting to know him since this was my property. After chatting for a bit, he lingered awkwardly, watching us unload. Eventually, he said goodbye and walked back up the road to his home. 2 weeks later, I went back to the mobile home alone to bring more stuff, like my snowboarding gear, and set up the Wi-Fi. Dale noticed my car and soon knocked on my open door, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. I gave him a smile and told him to come in, though he already had. He complimented the place and then invited me over for a beer. Wanting to be friendly, I said yes, and followed him up the road to his home. His mobile home was slightly bigger than mine. We sat outside on his deck, and he grabbed me a Heineken from inside. At first, the conversation was light, but as I answered his questions about being from Queens and wanting to snowboard, his tone shifted. He began ranting about city folk coming in and ruining the area. What started as a little debate spiraled into him raising his voice and telling me, "I don't know why y'all can't just stay where the expletive you belong." I stood up, smiled, and said, "Okay, I think I'm gonna head back now. Thanks for the beer." He didn't respond, just looked down at his drink. As I walked away, he yelled, "I'm sorry." I gave him a thumbs up, but was deeply unsettled. That night, while lying on a mattress watching a movie, I heard a voice outside. It sounded like someone cursing to themselves. Looking out the window, I saw nothing. It was too dark. The next day, Dale knocked on my door, calling my name. I ignored him, but he wouldn't leave, saying, "I know you're in there. Your car is here." The rest of the day I felt too uncomfortable to go outside. That night I heard a voice again and turned on the deck light. Dale was standing 5 feet into the woods, arms at his sides. When the light hit him, he ran into the woods. I called my dad, who advised me not to call 911 yet. Later that night, Dale screamed outside, "Leave! No one wants you here." The next morning, I packed up and left, terrified to return alone. If his behavior continues, I'll have to sell the place. Story 2. The Barbed Wire Intruder. When I was 7, my family and I lived in a rough neighborhood. My dad was often away on business trips, leaving my mom, my 2 siblings, and me alone. One regular night turned into a nightmare. Around midnight, someone knocked on our door. My mom woke up, went to the door, and asked who it was. No one answered. Thinking it might be kids playing pranks, she went back to bed. 30 minutes later, the knocking resumed. This time she peered through the side window but saw no one. In our neighborhood, you couldn't assume it was just kids. Worried, my mom grabbed my dad's shotgun and sat in the dark living room waiting. The knocking started again. She shouted that she would call the cops and shoot anyone who tried to come in. The knocking stopped after that. Around 2 a.m., the police arrived. They found a 4-foot piece of barbed wire next to the front door. The officer explained that it belonged to the person knocking and that they likely planned to strangle my mom when she opened the door. My mom's instincts had saved her life. The next morning, footprints were found leading to the back of the house and my bedroom window. There were marks where someone had tried to pry it open. My mom always suspected the creepy neighbor who often stared into our house through his curtains. Thankfully, we moved out shortly after. Story 3. The Mysterious New Neighbor. A few months ago, we got a new neighbor. At first, my wife and I were relieved because we never got along with our old neighbors. But soon, we missed them. The new neighbor's van appeared in the driveway one day, but there were no moving trucks or signs of anyone bringing in furniture. When we knocked on the door to introduce ourselves, no one answered, even though the van was there. Our bedroom window overlooks his backyard, where he has a detached garage. Late one night, we heard his garage door open and saw him bringing boxes inside. The motion light illuminated him, a middle-aged man in a white t-shirt and jeans. A few nights later, metallic scraping and banging sounds came from his garage. When I looked out, he caught me staring. He backed out of his driveway in a hurry. Curious, I went to his garage one night and heard noises inside like thumping and scraping. My wife called me back inside, and I decided to leave it alone. But later that night, she woke me up, saying she heard our backyard gate open. I went outside and turned on the lights, hearing someone run away. The gate slammed shut. The next day, I spoke with our other neighbor, Jean, who also heard strange noises from the garage. That weekend, the man's van was in the driveway during the day for the first time. When I opened our blinds, he was standing at his window staring at me. He held eye contact for 20 seconds before disappearing. My wife and I knocked on his door, but he never answered. Later, Jean told me he'd heard muffled crying from the garage. We decided to confront the man together, but his van disappeared and he hasn't returned in weeks. We're left with unanswered questions and a lingering sense of dread about what might have been happening in that garage. Story 4. The Disappearance